the 2025 Harley-Davidson Softail Heritage. What's up, guys? I'm Isaac here. It's Back Road Harley-Davidson, and this is actually your pre-owned bike of the week because we've got this 2025 Softail Heritage that's got a couple miles on already, so we're going to go ahead and take it out on the road and show you what's all new and in store for these 2025 Softails. As we've talked about in many of our other videos, the Softail lineup for 2025 got a ton of updates. And believe it or not, what you're looking at right here is pretty much a bone stock Heritage. Except the only thing that looks like it's been added onto this bike is going to be this engine guard right here. So that's this is how great these bikes look from the factory. So you no longer have the option for chrome or black. Now you have chrome with black accents or black with chrome accents, whichever way you want to look at it. The option you do still have, besides all the awesome colorways, which this happens to be the Whiskey Fire with Vivid Black, and you can see the flake in that reddish orange there. Right here on the wheels, you have the option between this cast wheel or a spoke wheel, or a laced wheel that actually has the spokes going to the outside, so you're able to still run a tubeless tire setup. So like what we've been seeing in the CVOs. And it looks sharp. But you got new tank beds, new colors, new graphics, two-tone color. You've got a black and clear windshield. You still have your halogen lights, but you've got new LED turn signals. You've got these new hand controls, these new everything we'll talk about on the ride. You still have very comfortable seat. You do have this locking kind of hard luggage. It's a keyless entry, so it's a proximity key, and it's a little bit smaller as well for this year. And so you can lock up these bags, and they have this nice soft leather look, but they've got that hard plastic interior. Nice bright new brake light and turn signal combo there, and this new 2-to-1 exhaust right there. So a lot of excitement on this bike. Lot still very Harley-Davidson Heritage, but you've got a lot of new things like this 117 Milwaukee 8. So we're gonna go ahead and show you what this bike's like on the road. Let's ride a 2025 Softail. I am pretty excited. I've heard a lot of really good updates, or a lot about the updates on these bikes, but I'm excited to finally see what it's like. The biggest thing that I'm excited to see is how these controls feel, how this new 117 Milwaukee 8 motor feels, and especially how the retuned suspension is. Which it'll be a little bit biased on this bike because the Softail has always, or excuse me, of course the Softail, but the Heritage has always kind of been regarded as the most comfortable of the Softails because you've got nice plush suspension, but especially this nice cozy seat, little mini floorboards. I mean, this bike is a mini touring bike. It is ready to go. And so we're going to throw our leg over and see what it does. So you'll see it is kind of the one touch, but I'm doing the two touch. I don't know. I like to let the fuel prime fuel. So I'm on a hill, so I got to make sure it's in neutral. All right, and there it goes. So right off the bat, what you're going to be seeing, oh yeah, and this has all those rider safety enhancements, which hopefully I don't have to go test any of those, but you'll see this bike has just over 100 miles. I can see what mode I'm in, which I can do it like that, or I can do it like that. I'm going to start out in road mode, and then we'll throw in sport later on. It's still Heritage, so you have a lot of your lights down here, but most everything else is going to be inside the screen. So traction control and ABS, they're still flashing because they can't do their checks until the motorcycle's been moving for a little bit. So then if they cut off, then you know they're working and all set. So nice part about the Heritage too, another thing that's specific to it is you have the button here for the passing lights there, the auxiliary lights. And when those are on, I can see that it's cut on just like that. So I'm leaving them on. A little extra visibility is nice in these lovely cruises around Raleigh. Bike does sound pretty good too. All right. We have a little bit of delivery going on. There we go. Squeeze through here. Wave at everybody. Another thing that's nice is that the turn signals, the ergonomics are just a little bit better all the way around on this thing. And so you'll see the turn signals have a little extra winglet there. Okay, this is smooth. So far I'm liking the suspension. It's supposed to be retuned, and what I read that was
said about it is it's supposed to be, everything on it's supposed to be just a little bit better all the way around. So you want to ride a little more cush, it's supposed to be, that looks like no fun. You want a little more cush on these bumps, it'll handle that better, but at the same time it's also handling, if you want to do a little bit more aggressive riding, better too. So brakes are phenomenal as always. I don't think anything really changed on those. I already like this button layout. Personally, I like having my high-low beam switch up there. So like back there, where I had the clutch in, I was moving in a little bit. To me, it's a little bit easier to keep my thumb around that piece on the bar, the grip, and flick it with that finger. It's not really doing much versus try to get my thumb off to access the little flash button to let the guy know that to come on ahead. And these turn signals are self-canceling. Okay, this rides phenomenally. The suspension is doing fine work. Ooh, yeah, I've been saying it a lot here lately, that this year might be the best year for the Softails, and now that I'm finally riding one, yeah, they don't just look good on paper. And that 2-to-1 does sound a little bit better. I think this bike sounds even better too. It's not really much you have to do. All right. Yeah, I'm liking it. It's an asymmetrical tank, so you do have just your fuel fill on the right. It's a little easier to fill up when it's winding on the kickstand on the left. These bags and the windshield do come off super easy. Well, bags come off easy, windshield comes off super easy. And that one is more the quick detach, but the bags, it will take an extra minute to remove them because they're not that full quick detach like what we have on the Lowrider ST bags. Yeah. Nice. Yeah, the nice thing about these mirrors too, I mean, they're way out there too, so I can see right, I'm not just staring at my shoulder the whole time on this ride either. What? That was a pretty nasty bump, and that handled that. Kind of nice. Might have to see what I've got to do to get some of this suspension on my bike. Okay, I already like the layouts. Low in torque. We won't run it up too crazy. I think this is the refresh that we've been looking for these bikes. There were a lot of rumors people were talking about, which we'll talk about later. But we'll just enjoy how it is on the highway. This thing's nice. Holy cow. And with the engine guard, I can just go ahead and prop my feet up. Oh, and did I tell you it's a 6-speed? That font's a lot bigger too. That's really nice. I can see that gear way, way easier. Yeah, so I'm cruising at 2,500 RPMs, 70 miles an hour. Roll on and keep it running up. That's nice. Buffeting on this windshield either. I mean, I could ride like this all day. And that's kind of the point of this bike. So yeah, I think this has been the refresh that we've been looking for this bike, and for these Softails, because that handles it so good. Because for so long, you know, there were rumors that something was going to change with the Softails. You know, you could watch anyone on YouTube and they'd be like, oh, like, you know, what to expect for 2025, and you'd have all those videos. Let's see. But there was, I think there were some folks that were saying, they were like, you know, I want to see, you know, they were talking about all the new tech with the Rev Max platform and like the screens on the Sportster S. And so I think some people were speculating if we were going to be seeing those screens on these bikes or not. And when these bikes came out and we didn't see that, I think some people were a little bit disappointed with it, with not seeing that big of a jump in tech. But the more time I've spent with these bikes, the more I'm glad that they didn't. And the reason I say that is because then I feel like you've kind of gotten away from what this bike is and about, you know? This bike is, well, hey, this is the Heritage. So, I mean, it's supposed to be a little bit older. And the hard part with these bikes is trying to find that right balance between, you know, classic, old school, comfort, and nostalgia and style, while at the same time rocking some modern performance. So, I mean, you've got a 117 cubic inch push rod motor right here that's running off ride modes. I mean, that's wild. That's so cool. And it does phenomenal. So, you got great power, and this motor is the classic style. So also with these, you've got 3 motor platforms, so to speak, or 3 tunes, I guess. And really the biggest physical difference you'll see with those is going to be the air cleaner. So this is the 117 Classic, which is going to be the least powered, and really focus on, you know, this I say least powered, I mean, it's still 117, so it's doing great. But this will be the least powered compared to those 3. The middle range is going to be the custom that we see on both the Breakout and the... I'm glad to have nice brake lights. That dude wanted to see what was up. Alright, so mode, I can just throw it in sport mode, give it a second to flash, and I can already feel the throttle being a little bit more sensitive and the spike becoming a little bit more responsive. Oh, this is another animal now. Okay. Word. But you have the custom on the Breakout and the Fat Boy, middle of the pack, and then at the top you have the high output that you're only going to find on that Lowrider S and ST. Obviously the highest output of the 3. So this one's rocking the Classic because, you know, it's the Heritage. It's for cruising. It's got a 117, so plenty for doing this kind of riding you'd be doing. But if you want that higher performance, then you're going to want those other features that are on the bikes like the Lowrider S and ST anyway. So. And this thing is a Softail, and it corners phenomenally. Do some real tests here. Yeah, this bike is doing what it's supposed to do very well. Yeah, so what I've been saying is this bike has the refresh that we really have been looking for on these bikes. You know, they are still very, very Harley-Davidson Softail, classic as can be, but you have so many great hidden features that people have been wanting on these bikes, and then just minor ergonomic differences. So now, I mean, the first thing a lot of folks do when they get on the bike is bars, seat, and pipe. The seat, especially on the Heritage, I mean, it's a solid seat. Bars, great mix of relaxation, but also they're just below me, so I'm able to, you know, have excellent control. And even the exhaust, the stock exhaust, doesn't sound that bad. The bar is set pretty low for stock exhaust, but this one doesn't sound that bad compared to some of the other ones. Look at that. That dude even gave us a thumbs up. And we have a stock exhaust. Pretty much entirely stock bike. And that's another beauty, is these bikes can be customized all day like you want. But now, you don't have to as much. especially with the suspension. I might be trying to snag some of the suspension to throw on my bike. This is nice. Oh, nope, we're not turning there yet. But you know, a lot of minor differences too that a lot of folks didn't know we needed, like these new grips that are better than the old ones, an adjustable front brake lever. So if I want to set this bike up to me some, I can pull in a little bit closer. See that right there? I can rotate these bars closer. A better layout, better operation for my high and low beam switch there. Cruise control is super easy. You just push in there and push down. This is the button I've been using to go through all this stuff. Also, the horn's a little bit further away now because I don't think really many people really use the horn that much. But the horn also got an update. It also sounds better. So I can see everything in this screen, which also has a larger font. I mean, look at the number 1. Oh yeah, and because of this new system, I can see what gear I'm in with the clutch pulled in. So the previous gen, you could only see what gear you were in if the gear was in use, so to speak. So I wouldn't be able to see it until I was moving. But now the way it's set up is as soon as my foot clicks in, it already tells me what gear I'm in, which is very nice. Phenomenal. Yeah, this bike is doing it. Yeah, I mean, there's just so much to love. And then everything on the screen. So it's very similar layout to previous. I still have my fuel gauge, but now I can see what ride mode I'm in, which sport mode. I'm in sport mode, and sport mode's pretty fantastic. But then I've got a lot. That dude's gonna give everyone a heart attack. But I can see the gear I'm in a whole lot easier. And then right now I have it set to RPMs. But that's the bottom one. That's the one that I can change in and out of to see other stuff. So right now it's in RPMs, and using this button right here, I can, let's see. Oh, look at that. I can see my front tire pressure and my rear tire pressure. And turn signals are easier to get to. I'm loving everything about this bike. There's the odometer. So I can see that now it has 116 miles on it. So 116. Let's see. So then also I can throw it in. So I keep going, and I can see my trip A, my trip B, my fuel range based on the fuel in the tank and how we've been riding this bike. And it is a 5-gallon tank, so you can get a pretty good range out of this. And then my clock, which I did not set. My apologies. And then back to RPMs. So, cool. I want to go third and cruise control through here. Push in, push down. Takes 2 seconds. I think it's easier than the one way down here, too. Yeah, I mean, this is wild. One nice thing about ride modes that a lot of people don't ever really think about is, most people think, okay, I've got rain mode for when it's raining, I have road mode for normal road, and I have sport for sporty riding. But if you really like you can really set it up a little bit more in depth than that. So, if you just like to leave in sport mode all the time, you like how well the bike responds in that mode, go ahead. Leave it there all the time. But if, this bike is fun. Just leave it there. That's fine. But then I could only assume that you would also get better fuel economy in rain mode because it's not revving up as high as quickly. So I would want to, and you're probably going to be riding a little bit more conservatively in that mode, or it's going to put you into a more conservative mode. So I would almost say if you were kind of low on fuel, I'd be curious to see how rain mode does for you, to kind of give you a maybe squeeze a couple extra miles out or something like that. A little eco mode. And then road mode, kind of like a middle of the pack version. But the biggest thing that I have in mind is the throttle sensitivity. So right now, if I'm in sport mode and I kind of like hit the throttle, you know, it'll rev like I want it to. You know, where I put the throttle, that's what the bike's gonna do. But if you maybe don't have as steady of a throttle hand, or you're on Lake Wheeler Road and it's hard to have that steady of a throttle hand, then, you know, maybe throw it in that road or rain mode to help cut some of that out, help smooth the bike out some on those rougher roads. So, and that's just the two things that I've thought of while I'm just sitting here on the bike. So the more time you spend with this bike, I'm sure there's a ton of other details that you'll learn and be like, oh, that is really cool. I'm glad that's there. Now, is the Heritage my favorite softail now? No, it's still not quite. It's a little bit too cruiser for me still. I like the Lowrider ST a little bit too much still, so it's still cool. But this is amazing. Now, who would enjoy this bike? Again, it's like we've said in some other videos, it's that middle ground light touring bike. So if you're, and it's passenger ready. I've got a passenger seat and passenger pegs. So if you're on that middle ground, you're looking for, you know, you don't really want a street glide anymore, which now the new street glides are a little bit lighter and easier to manage. But you don't really want a bagger. You want a softail, something a little bit less expensive, a little bit easier to ride. Then here's the Heritage, and now it has the rider safety enhancements to keep up with the baggers, and it's got a very similar power output too. Yeah, I haven't found anything on this bike that isn't kind of cool yet. Oh, and the turn signals. I'm gonna hop off the bike here in a second to show you the turn signals on this bike, because I didn't a second ago. They're actually, Harley has a aftermarket kit for them, and I bought them a few years ago, at least for the ones for the front. However, the only difference between the aftermarket ones you can buy and these are, on mine, they stay lit and white all the time, and they have like a white halo. They look the same, but when my bike's on, it has the white halo, and then it flashes yellow in the middle, whereas these are off, but then just flash yellow in the halo. So they look about the same, and they're just a lot brighter, but I still love the ones I've got, but these are definitely a lot better than what we had before. I will say that. Yeah, here it is. The 2025 Harley-Davidson Softail Heritage. So a phenomenal bike. Fantastic, lots of great braking. I'm gonna throw these hazards on right quick so you can see it. Yeah, I mean, this is, I love this thing. If you want to know more about this bike, come see us. But right now I'm gonna show you what these brake lights, turn signals look like. Phenomenal. Let you hear it. Sounds good, looks good. Look at that. Oh yeah. So this is it, the 2025 Harley-Davidson Softail Heritage. If you want to know more about this bike, then come see us here at Spack Road Harley-Davidson. But in the meantime, ride safe, and we hope to see you soon.